Well, good afternoon. This is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred. So glad you could join us today. It's a nice day here in Pennsylvania. I thought I would talk about a very important topic. My wife and I and family, we've been following a whole food plant-based diet for a little over 3 years now. And one of the big subjects is dairy. I grew up my whole life consuming dairy by the gallons, I remember as a young boy. And as I began to, realize the ill effects of the dairy on my own life and the meats and the oils, I just got, 65 pounds overweight and aches and pains everywhere and angina, heart problems. And so, I reached the point where I had to make a change. And I happened to listen to Dr. Joel Fuhrman on PBS at one point, and he presented a plant-based diet. And so at that point I began doing a lot of research, followed his way for about a year, and I came upon Dr. John McDougall. This is the Starch Solution book. And so he's a wonderful doctor. They treat the cause of the disease. That's their first line of defense. They realize most of your chronic and degenerative diseases are food-borne illnesses. They're diet-related. It's the food that's causing our chronic illness. And so anyhow, I love Dr. John McDougall. We can provide a link for his book. He's been a doctor for 40 years or more now. And so anyhow, I wanted to talk about plant milk. Most of us grow up our whole life eating drinking the dairy milk and the cheeses, and I ate tons of cheese. We all love our cheese, and the one reason why we like our cheese is because it has morphine in it. Yeah, you got that right, morphine. That's something we don't really hear about, but nature provided that morphine in the cow's milk so that the baby would always return back and consume the cow's milk. And so that's one reason why we do really like cheese. And so before I talk about the plant milk options we have here, because that's what my wife and I drink now, we have the plant milks. There's a lot of good, healthy, tasty substitutes. But I wanted to talk about just some of the harmful effects of dairy on our bodies. And again, this is on page 115 in the Starch Solution book. So let's talk about the gastrointestinal. Some of the symptoms and illnesses are canker sores, irritation of the tongue, lips, and mouth. You have gastroesophageal reflux disease, which is GERD. And many of us suffer from that if we eat the standard American diet, because your meat and your dairy, your tuna fish, cheeses, they're all very high in acid. And so that's one of the big causes of acid reflux. And so you also get stomach cramps. There's other type 1 diabetes, intestinal obstruction. That's all part of the upper gastrointestinal system. And so those are some of the side effects and illnesses of dairy. Now let's go down to the lower gastrointestinal. You can have bloody stools, colitis, malabsorption, diarrhea, painful defecation, chronic constipation, Crohn's disease. I'm skipping over a few, but there's quite a few there. The respiratory, we have stuffy or runny nose, inner ear infection, sinus infections, wheezing, asthma, pulmonary infiltrates. And so just the respiratory, you can see the symptoms and illnesses that are caused by dairy foods. Then you have bone and joint. You have rheumatoid arthritis, juvenile and adult. You have lupus, psoriatic arthritis. And then the skin, you have symptoms and illnesses. You have rashes, eczema, hives, and acne. Acne is one of the causes of dairy and all the extra oils. I wish I knew that growing up as a teenage boy, how the foods is what really brings on the acne. And then your nervous system, you have multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's disease, autism, irritability, headaches, muscle pain, bedwetting. Again, there's a lot more on this list. But I know it's kind of surprising when we realize that these symptoms and illnesses are caused by the foods that we're eating, but science has proven this for quite some time, that it's the food that causes these problems. Then as far as your blood system, you have abnormal blood clotting, iron deficiency, anemia, and so on. And then, so that's just a whole list of some of the harmful effects that dairy causes on our human bodies here. And so if you're looking for a reason to stop dairy and any dairy-related food, there are some good reasons. You know, we want to try to take care of these bodies. We only live once here on this earth, and my wife has always said, you know, we're in our golden years, and so why do we want to suffer from some kind of pain and chronic disease? We want to be energetic and our lives full of vitality and longevity. And so by switching to a plant-based diet, you know, we can live a long, healthy life for our grandchildren and friends and family. And so anyhow, what I did is these are some plant milks options that you have here. This one just happens to be an almond milk. And I got two of these from Trader Joe's, and this one I got from Whole Foods. But I just wanted to bring your attention to, there's a chemical, and that's another good thing. Another thing that we want to start learning is reading ingredients. You know, you want to read the ingredients very careful, make sure it's low in sugar or no sugar at all. The saturated fats, of course, you want to stay away from. And the oils, of course, you know, there are plant milks out there that contain oil, so you want to stay away from that. But there's another chemical in here, it's called Carrageenan. It's some sort of thickener. And so I just wanted to bring that to your attention. The other two plant milks don't have that, but it is a thickener of some kind. Another website I would recommend is nutritionfacts.org. Dr. Michael Kreger, he's the nicest doctor in the world. And he's got a question and answer. He covers a topic on just about anything, and he has all these very informative videos. And so he really does his research. He spent his whole life doing research, making sure that the research and his teachings are honest and true. That's what we want to do ourselves. We want to analyze everything. We try to emphasize that here at Plant Smart Living. We want to live our lives in a very smart and analytic way. And so we want to search things out because we want to do what's best for my body and so on. And so anyhow, you have the organic almond milk as an option. You can certainly use. Also, you have, this is from Trader Joe's. It's a soy beverage, unsweetened, non-dairy. Now, what I like about this in particular is this only has, as far as ingredients, it has water and whole organic soybeans. Now, I know that's also kind of a topic today, is are soybeans healthy for you? So I would recommend going to nutritionfacts.org, and you could enter the word soybeans, and you could do a study there on all kinds of videos available. And the same thing with Carrageenan. You know, this also has, he has studies on there and videos helping us understand the benefits and harms of all different kinds of foods. And also then you have oat milk. They just make this out of oats. And the ingredients here is water, oats, tricalcium phosphate, sea salt, gallon, gum, whatever that is, you know, and so vitamin A palmitate and vitamin D2. And so has some fiber in it, low in sugar. Some of this comes unsweetened or sweetened. My wife and I prefer the unsweetened kind. We also make our own rice milk or plant milks out of rice or cashews or almond butter, and so hopefully in the coming weeks we'll maybe do a video on making our own plant milks, and because that's another healthy option. You know at least what's in the milk that you're making. But I would highly recommend any of these milks. They're far better than cow's milk. You know, cow's milk has casein in it. It's a protein which promotes cancer, and so there's just so much to learn here in this plant-based lifestyle. But we just love doing this. It's amazing the benefits to our health, and so I would encourage you to just think about switching over to plant milks, and there'll also be links provided for these for more information. And so I hope this has been helpful to you, and I just want to thank you for joining us today. This is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred.